In the spring of 1995, a 27-year-old bank manager named Maya sat at her kitchen table, opened her laptop, and made a decision that took less than 15 minutes. No celebration, no dramatic moment. She closed the laptop, finished her evening, and moved on with life. But that quiet decision changed everything. 30 years later, Maya retired at 58 with $1.9 million in investments, a fully paid-off home, and something even more valuable, peace of mind. She travels twice a year, helps her grandchildren with college costs, and hasn't felt financial anxiety in over a decade. What makes her story fascinating is this. Maya was never extraordinary. She didn't inherit money. She didn't build a company. She wasn't a stock market genius. She worked as a branch manager at a mid-sized bank in Cincinnati, earning about $52,000 a year, almost identical to her colleague Carol, who started the same role at the same time. Same industry. Same salary range. Same opportunities. But today, Carol is 67 and still working, not because she wants to, but because she has to. She has around $190,000 saved for retirement, 9 years left on her mortgage, and a habit of checking the numbers every few months, hoping something will magically improve. It never does. So how do two people start in nearly the exact same place and end up in completely different financial realities? Most people assume the answer is investment skill, extreme discipline, or earning more money. It is. The difference came down to one simple structural decision Maya made in 1995. A decision so small it barely felt important at the time, but powerful enough to shape the next 3 decades of her life. And today, you're going to understand exactly what that decision was, why it works so well, and how you can use the same system no matter what your current income looks like. Here's the mistake most people make with money. They think wealth is built through hundreds of perfect financial decisions, repeated over time. But research shows something much simpler. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Financial Planning followed more than 2,000 households across 3 decades. Researchers looked at income levels, education, investment knowledge, and spending habits to figure out what consistently separated people who built wealth from people who didn't. Income mattered. Education mattered. Financial knowledge mattered. But none of them were the strongest predictor. The biggest predictor of long-term wealth was one behavioral shift. People who saved before spending consistently built far more wealth than people who tried to save whatever was left at the end of the month. Vanguard found something even more striking. Households that automated their savings accumulated roughly 2.5 times more wealth over 30 years than households earning the same income who saved manually. Think about that for a second. Same income. Same timeline. Completely different outcome. All because of one difference in sequence. Thomas Stanley, who spent decades studying self-made millionaires, found the exact same pattern. The people who quietly became wealthy weren't necessarily earning massive salaries. They simply paid their future first. That was the difference. Now this sounds almost too simple, so let's break down why it works better than budgeting, motivation, or financial discipline ever could. Most people manage money like this. They get paid. They pay bills. They spend on life. Then, at the end of the month, they try to save whatever remains. The problem is, there's usually very little remaining. Because spending naturally expands to fill available money. That isn't a character flaw. It's human psychology. If money is sitting in your account, your brain treats it as usable. And throughout the month, there will always be reasons to use it. A dinner out. A sale online. A car repair. A stressful week. A reward after hard work. Saving manually turns every month into a negotiation between your present life and your future self. And most of the time, the present wins. Why? Because the bills are real right now. The future feels distant. That's why automation changes everything. When money moves automatically into investments the day after your paycheck arrives, something important happens. The spending decision never gets a chance to happen. The money disappears before your lifestyle can absorb it. No monthly debate. No relying on motivation. No end-of-month guilt. Your brain simply adapts to what remains. And over time, that adjustment becomes normal. This is exactly what Maya understood back in 1995. After receiving her first meaningful raise, she set up an automatic transfer of $400 per month into a retirement investment account. Not after expenses. Not if there was money left over. Immediately after payday. At first, she noticed it. But within a few months, she stopped feeling the difference because her spending adjusted around the new reality. Then she added one more rule that completely changed her future. Every time she received a raise, she automatically redirected at least half of the increase into investments before her lifestyle could absorb it. That single habit created the gap that eventually became her $1.9 million. Her lifestyle improved over the years. She traveled more, bought better things, lived comfortably, but her spending never grew as fast as her income. And that gap is where wealth is born. Carol intended to do the same thing. She understood the concept. She read the books. She attended retirement seminars. But she never automated it. Every month, saving depended on willpower. And willpower loses when life gets expensive. There was always a reason to wait. After the kids got older. After the car was paid off. After the mortgage eased up. After things became less stressful. But life rarely becomes less expensive for long. And years passed faster than she expected. Now here, where this becomes even more powerful. Automation is only the foundation. There are 3 additional layers that make this system incredibly effective. The first is separation. Your investment account should not live inside your everyday checking app, where you can instantly transfer money back with 2 taps. Maya kept her investments at a completely separate institution from her daily bank. That friction protected her wealth for decades. Because every time an expense felt urgent, the extra steps created enough pause to prevent emotional decisions. And most of those urgent withdrawals eventually turned out not to be necessary at all. The second layer is identity. This is the part most financial advice completely ignores. When you consistently save before spending, you stop feeling like someone who is trying to manage money better. You begin seeing yourself as someone who naturally invests in the future first. That identity shift matters more than people realize. Behavioral research shows that identity-based habits last far longer than motivation-based habits. A person who sees themselves as an investor behaves differently during hard times than someone who is simply attempting to save more money. And difficult seasons will come. Which brings us to the third layer. Never shut the system off completely. There will absolutely be moments when life hits hard. Unexpected bills, job instability, family emergencies. And during those moments, your instinct will be to pause investing entirely until life stabilizes. But people who successfully build wealth usually do something different. They reduce the amount without eliminating the system. Maybe the transfer drops from 15% down to 5%. Maybe it falls to only $50 a month. But the habit stays alive. Because restarting a broken system is psychologically much harder than maintaining a smaller version of it. Maya reduced her transfers twice in 30 years. Both times, she lowered the amount temporarily instead of stopping completely. And both times, she restored the full amount within months. That consistency mattered more than perfection ever could. So here's how you apply this starting today. Choose a percentage of your income to automate. If you've never done this before, start with 5%. Not because it's huge, because it's sustainable. Then schedule an automatic transfer to happen the day after your paycheck arrives. Not manually. Automatically. Send it to a retirement or investment account separate from your daily banking. And if you don't have one yet, open one tonight. The process usually takes less than 20 minutes. Next, create one simple rule. Every future raise gets split. Half improves your lifestyle. Half goes straight into investments before you can adjust to the higher income. Make that decision now, before the raise arrives. Because once money becomes part of your lifestyle, it becomes emotionally difficult to give it up later. Then leave the system alone for 6 months. Don't obsess over the balance. Don't constantly adjust it. Just let it run quietly in the background. And after 6 months, look at what has accumulated. Because once people see proof that the system works, motivation becomes much easier. Maya retired at 58 because of a 15-minute decision made on an ordinary evening in 1995. It didn't feel life-changing at the time. It felt like a normal Tuesday. But the system she built that night quietly worked for 30 years in the background of her life. Through raises, recessions, career changes, family expenses, and economic uncertainty. While she lived her life, the system kept building freedom. Carol had similar income, similar knowledge, similar intentions. But intentions alone don't create financial outcomes. Systems do. And the real financial turning point in life is not the moment you learn what to do. It's the moment you make the right behavior automatic. And the best part, that moment doesn't have to be sometime in the future. It can happen today. It can happen in the 20 minutes after this video ends. Because Maya's 15-minute decision is still paying returns decades later. And yours could start doing the same.